Want a soar? Get a mentor. Hey, it's Nina Carmichael, and we made these videos because you're probably the most ambitious person in your circle. But you know you're capable of more, and you need that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, my husband Evan Carmichael, and learn simple hacks to trigger yourself for success. Enjoy! Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, trigger yourself for success.
The trick to getting yourself into action mode is to trigger yourself for success. Triggering yourself for success means you've taken the decision making out of it, that as soon as you come up with an idea, you have trained yourself by default into action mode. You see, your brain will always talk you down from things because it's trying to keep you safe, and it only understands a world that currently exists that is logical and practical. Until you learn to trigger yourself for success, you will constantly doubt your thoughts, your ideas, and your actions. This video is gonna help. So today, I wanna talk about this bag right here. A lot of you leave comments, the newer fans of the channel say, why is Doritos sponsoring your videos? Evan, why don't you have a healthier sponsor? Don't you know what bad Doritos does to your body? You should be promoting healthy living. Doritos is not a sponsor, guys. This is triggering me for success every single day. And this isn't just some tiny bag. It looks small looking back here, but let me bring this up. Look at that. This is right next to my face. Look at how big that bag of Doritos is. I have a strategy, and it's a weird strategy, so maybe you'll love it, maybe you won't, but I have a strategy called Damn the Doritos. I look at this bag. So I'm sitting, this is how I'm working, right? I'm not sitting, I'm standing. I'm standing on a trampoline. This is my workspace right now, right? I'm standing here, I'm working. In the corner of my eye, I got Steve Jobs up here, and I got this giant bag of Doritos. All I want to do is eat this bag all day long. I want to destroy this bag of Doritos. Look at that giant chip. Oh, I'm going to start drooling soon. I love it. I want to eat that all day long. This bag is here as a reminder of how great I am. This is the mental conversation inside my head. Evan, you're awesome. You're awesome for not eating those Doritos every day. And I want it as a reminder. People say, doesn't it take a lot of willpower? No, it builds, for me at least, builds the willpower, builds my strength. Every time I see that bag of Doritos, makes me feel better about myself, that I'm not eating it and I have the strength to keep going. And so why I have that here is when you're on a diet, right? This is how it began. When you're on a diet, your friends, your family, the experts will say, get rid of all the junk food from your house, get rid of it all, because otherwise you'll be tempted and then you're gonna eat it and then you're gonna ruin your diet. I think that is actually teaching yourself that you suck. You're teaching yourself, I'm a weird duck, you're teaching yourself that you are not strong enough to be around the thing, and so I need to get it out of my environment. The only way that I can stick to this thing is if this other stuff is nowhere close to me. I think you're telling yourself that you suck. I think it's a big crutch. And just like when you break your leg, you have a crutch. Your ultimate goal is to not have a crutch. It's to walk, it's to run, it's to be stronger than before, right? And so as a step 1, maybe it's good, right? As a step 1, okay, fine. You broke your leg, you have a crutch. You want to get on a diet, you're addicted to junk food, get it out of the house, awesome. But as soon as you go on vacation, as soon as you go to an office party, as soon as you go to New Year's, any kind of party, you're gonna destroy the food because you've trained yourself every day that you suck, that you're not capable. I think you're a genius. I think you're stronger than you think. And so I tested it first with myself, and I thought, you know what? Doritos are my nemesis, right? I love Doritos. Oh my gosh, just looking at that bag. So I went to Costco and bought the giant size bag of Doritos and said, I'm gonna put this on my desk all day long. Because damn the Doritos, because the Doritos are stronger than me? I don't think so, right? I'm Evan Carmichael. And same thing for you. That thing that is holding you, that's stronger than you? I don't think so. Remember who you are. Remember how strong you are. And that's what this is here for. And it's been awesome to see people now take this up. A friend of the channel, Liron, was trying to get off of sugar, and he has this coffee cup with a saucer, and he drinks his morning coffee, and he put 2 packets of sugar on the saucer right next to the coffee. So he pours his coffee, has the sugar right next to it, and he just starts drinking it and puts it down and looks at the sugar packs and then just drinks the coffee again and puts it down, looks at the sugar packs, and his wife thinks he's crazy. And he's a little crazy too. You gotta be a little bit weird duck, but I think this is actually how you build your strength. Mark Drager, another friend of the channel, is addicted to the Peak Friends cookies. You know, the ones that have the red on the inside and the cream in the middle. Those are among my favorites too. And so his COO, when he heard this, went out and bought all these boxes of Peak Friends and put it on Mark's desk. And he opened it up. And this is one of my favorite things to do. Whenever I'm around Doritos or something I really love to eat, not just say, oh, put that away from me. Don't be around me. I can't have that. And not just look at it. I want to smell it. So Mark took these cookies, brought it right up here. Peak Friend cookies, right up here. Oh, and you can just see the joy on his face just as he's bringing back memories and just what those cookies are gonna taste like when they enter his stomach, and just goodness everywhere, right? The smile on his face, maybe a little bit of drool coming out, you just, and then put the cookies down and walk away. And how great that makes you feel as a human to say, here's one of my biggest weaknesses of all time. Bring it. I own you. Put it down and walk away, right? I think that's how you actually build strength. By doing those difficult things, by triggering yourself for success. Every time I see the Doritos bag, I feel better about myself, I feel stronger about myself, and I want you to do the same thing. If any of you are gonna take on that kind of challenge, I wanna hear you, I wanna follow you, I wanna see how your journey is going, because it can be one of the biggest, most important life-changing decisions that you embark on. So now I wanna share 3 different success triggers that can propel you forward. The first is the boom, boom test. And that's when your heart's going boom, 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 right? The idea is we need to get out of our head. We need to get out of our head. You get an idea, something's coming at you, a new opportunity, something that might be scary. We need to get out of our head and just go off and do it, right? We're taking the decision-making process out of it. It's just understanding that these things are the right things for me, right? You have an idea. It's a good one because it came from you, therefore it must be good. You're gonna do something about it. Boom, 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 boom. It's your heart beating because you're nervous, because you're scared, because you're afraid. Teach yourself that when your heart's beating, that means it's go time, whatever the thing is. Especially when it's other people's opinions that you're afraid of. You're afraid of launching a YouTube video because somebody's gonna look at it. Your friend, your boyfriend, girlfriend, high school friends, parents, husband, wife, they're gonna look at it and laugh at you. If that's the reason, then you have to do it just because, right? Don't do something stupid, right? Don't go rob a store because it makes you nervous, okay? Stick within your ethics. But most of the things you're afraid of are not stupid things like going to rob a store. They're fear of failing in front of other people. And if that's the reason, then you've lost for life. And so teach yourself. Boom, 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 you do it. You stop thinking about it and teach yourself. Because when you find that I'm afraid and I take action, I'm afraid and I take action, I'm afraid and I take action, what you're doing is rewiring your brain. You're teaching yourself that you're awesome, that you're super strong, that you're a hero, at least in your own mind, right? I feel like a hero in my own mind because when my heart's going like this, boom, 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 that means I have to go off and do it. So use the boom, boom test. Number 2 is play bigger triggers. And these are things in your environment that you can put in there to help you play a bigger game. So the Doritos is a play bigger trigger for me, right? I set it up once. It was an idea that came to me. I'm gonna put it here. I set it up once, and every day it triggers me forward. It triggers me to remind myself of how strong I am, because I wouldn't do it from a notification, right? I'm not gonna have a notification in my phone every 20 minutes to say, hey, remind yourself how strong you are. Remind yourself how strong you are, right? This does it for me automatically. The room here, right? These people all mean something to me. It means something. The plaques down there mean something to me. The neck braces that you can't really see, but under there's my neck braces from the tour, right? I wore this thing for 50 days and then that one for 10 days or something like that. This is a reminder of how awesome I am to myself, right? You might be looking to say, why does he have a neck brace? I'm not so concerned what you guys think. It's for me. There's a message here from my wife, right? I love you, get well soon. Hearts, Nina. Probably blurry, you can't see it. But this is a play bigger trigger for me. I had a broken neck for 60 days and I wore this thing and continued my tour, right? You've done amazing things too in your life. This isn't about me, it's about just using an example. You have already done amazing things in your life. You just forgot. You just don't remember how strong you are. And so having play bigger triggers in your environment that constantly remind you of who you are And what you're capable of makes a big impact on how you feel about yourself. And the third one is scary, difficult, or hard. When you hear yourself say scary, difficult, or hard, this is the audio expression of the boom boom test. The boom boom test is your heart beating, boom, 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 boom. That's physical, that's in the body. Some of you may gravitate to that naturally. Some of you may not catch that. You don't feel your body as much, but you're more auditory. Great. So if you ever hear yourself saying scary, difficult, or hard, same thing, you do it. You do it. You find a way to do it. You have to go off and do it. Because you do scary, difficult, or hard. Because you love scary, difficult, or hard. And tell your friends and your family, the people around you, anytime you hear me say scary, difficult, or hard, poke me in the stomach. Poke me in the stomach. Make me do it, right? Remind me of what I'm doing. Because I think we play small by default. And we need those reminders on a regular basis. So the boom boom test, to play bigger triggers, scary, difficult, or hard. Because the opposite is comfort. The opposite is boring. The opposite is living your life every day the exact same way. It's photocopying your life. That's what most people do. It's why most people hate their life, because they're just photocopying it over and over and over and over and over again. You have a chance to make a difference by reprogramming your mind. Because everything that you want that's new, that's exciting, that's different, means you have to do something that's new and different, and therefore it's scary. So you love doing scary things. You have to if you want the life that you want.
Rule number 2, don't aim for an easy life.
You don't want an easy life. You don't want to sit on the beach and just be served drinks all day long. That might sound appealing right now if you hate your life, but it's not what you actually want. You want to do difficult things. Your self-confidence, self-respect, self-esteem comes from doing difficult things. You want to be on a hero. You want to be on a journey. You want to make an impact. All of the heroes that you look up to right now, look at where they came from. Look at the journey they went on. They suffered a lot of pain to get there. You want to follow a similar road. So don't hate the pain. Recognize it for what it is. Your chance to show yourself and the world what you're made of. So I recently came back from doing my tour, 23 cities, 90 days, and I broke my neck along the way. And thank you everybody for the warm wishes, and having you guys in my back pocket sending me all the love every day was super helpful, and I appreciate you. And so many people saw me doing what I was doing with this giant neck brace on, with this huge, cut and scar across my forehead. Is it this side? Yeah, this side. There's still a little bit of a scar right there. They saw that and they said, man, you're so inspiring. I see you in the hospital still doing a live stream, and I am telling myself some BS excuse as to why I can't get up and go to work. And that's amazing, and that's uplifting. But the real reason why I did it, why I kept going, wasn't to try to be an inspiration to everybody watching. It was to be an inspiration to myself. It was to show myself what I could do, is that I'm in pain every day. At the beginning, I had this crazy concussion, but then once that subsided, I still had pain. I'm still in pain. This is months later, and I'm still in pain. I'm still recovering. I'm still going through rehab. Just that hurts like so much. It's crazy. I'm still in pain, but I want to make myself proud. I want to be an inspiration to myself, because when you do difficult things and you get through it, that's how you build self-love. Not by taking it easy and only doing the things that are within your comfort zone. If you're in your comfort zone all day long, you hate your life. It means that you're setting tiny goals for yourself that you know you're going to accomplish, and you're basically just photocopying your life. Every day is the same, and it's all inside your comfort zone. That's not what humans are built to do. You want to grow. You're a hero. You want to go on a journey. You want to do amazing things. You want to help others. And as you help others, as you grow, as you get through the pain, what you're able to do is help somebody up. You're on this staircase. I see it as a staircase, okay? Stay with me. You're climbing this staircase, and you don't want the staircase to end. You want there to be more challenges. You want there to be more pain ahead. You do. Because as you climb that staircase, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna look down behind you and pull the people up. The people who are also on that same journey with you. You're gonna make it easy for them. You're gonna offer them a helping hand. You're gonna show them that it's possible. You're gonna give them hope, belief, support. That's gonna be you. But unless you start climbing the staircase, you're never gonna help the people. You're never gonna help anybody else. You can only help somebody to the extent that you have gone through it yourself. If you haven't gone through anything yourself, you've never tried anything difficult, you're not gonna help anybody. There's gonna be this tiny little group of people who you will ever be able to help, because you're not exposing yourself, because you're not trying, because you're not taking on difficult things. And so you don't wanna hate the pain. I can't tell you how many times on my trip with my broken neck, I said, this is the best. I'm so pumped. This is crazy. This is the best. I've never felt so much physical pain in my life. I've had a lot of emotional pain, but I've never felt physical pain. I've never broken anything in my life. Never broken a bone in my body. Well, my pinky toe. It doesn't really count. I've never broken anything. I've never been in a cast. So the first thing that I break is my neck in 2 spots. It's crazy. And I was pumped because yes, this is my chance to see what I'm actually made of. And coming out of this, growing through it, surviving my way through it, I'm gonna emerge a different human. I'm gonna come out stronger. I'm gonna be better. And as I do that, I'm gonna be able to help pull other people up as well. You create a purpose from your pain. Because ultimately, everybody wants to serve. But you can't serve if you're not going through difficult things. You can't serve if you haven't been through something. Now you may be thinking that I'm a crazy person, and I think that's awesome. I think you should have some of this crazy. I think you need some of this crazy in your life. I think you need to become a little bit crazy. Otherwise, what? Otherwise, you're just complaining. Some pain is happening to you. What's your option? Either say this is the best and I'm gonna learn and grow from it and become amazing and help others, or you sit there and say this sucks and you're stuck in a land of complaining. That's where most people are. That's most of the world. And so I love being crazy and different and optimistic, and I wanna sprinkle some of that dust on you so you can join me on this crazy ride too. So I'm gonna give you a 3-step process to follow that I think will help. Step number 1 is, what's a big pain in your life? Think about a big pain that you have going on right now. What are you complaining about? What are you struggling with? What's this big pain that seems impossible, overwhelming? You're never gonna get over it, or it's all encompassing. What is that pain for you right now? The good thing about entrepreneurship is there's always some kind of pain happening in our business. So what's the number 1 pain for you right now? Number 2 is think, how is this the best? The best. How can you be insanely grateful for this pain? How are you gonna grow through this? How is this your chance to show yourself what you're made of? We very rarely get chances and opportunities to show yourself because you won't put yourself in harm's way. You won't push yourself to the edge. You won't. You just won't, because as humans, our survival instinct kicks in. You won't push yourself to the very edge. And so you're here. You've been forced here. Something happened. Something in your industry. Something with your parents. Something happened that you're here at the edge. This is the best. Because as you push through that edge, now there's a new edge. You've just grown. That discomfort allowed you as a human to get better. And so this big pain that you're suffering with right now, why is it the best? And step number 3 is remind yourself of who are you going to help once you defeat it. Once you get over this big fear, once you get through this big pain, this giant obstacle that is all encompassing, if you don't get through it, if you don't summon the courage and get through it, then you'll be stuck in the land of resourcelessness and complaining and anger and resentment and regret like most of the world. But if you get through it, you muscle through. You do the difficult thing that other people are not willing to do. Other people in your circumstance, whatever you're facing right now, lots of people would say, hey, don't worry about it. Don't do it. Back off. You've already given so much. Stop. Quit. Just relax. Take it easy. Chill. Right? That's what most people would tell you because they have low standards for themselves. When you break through that, think about all the people you're going to help. Think about the people you're going to lift up. Think about it. Imagine it. You're going to break through this thing, and then you can help tens or hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of people break through the same thing yourself. Quick side note on that. I'll go weird duck on you for a little bit here. When I'm in a conversation and we're saying goodbye and somebody says, hey, take it easy. Don't tell me that. It doesn't mean that I'm hustling my face off all the time, but I want to live an intentional life. I don't want an easy life. And you don't either. So I catch people. And the next time they say, take it easy, and they say something else. Something that they're proud of saying. So you got to watch your language. Watch how you talk to others. Watch how you talk to yourself. It makes a big difference.
Rule number 3, turn your weaknesses into strength.
Your greatest weakness can become your greatest strength. The thing that you are the most insecure about, most afraid of, most worried about, that you tell yourself that you suck at, that thing can become your superpower if you let it. Just a little mindset shift to recognize that you are special, you are a unique snowflake, you are different, and to embrace that instead of trying to be normal in the thing that you're not. So for example, I look at myself and I'm introverted, I'm shy, I'm afraid to get on stage. My biggest fear is disappointing people. And for years, the biggest fight with my agent was that I didn't want to be famous. He would say, and this guy's, has been a huge blessing in my life, helped manage Mel Robbins and Grant Cardone and a bunch of other people. And I met him early enough on in my journey that he just, I guess, took a liking to me. He said, hey, Evan, the problem, most people when they come to us, they're great on camera, but they have no message. You're the opposite. You have a great message. You believe in what you're doing, but you suck on camera. I've been doing YouTube for 5 years at that point. Like, oh, ouch, you're killing me, Steve, that hurts. But he was right. And he took a flyer on me to try to make me better. And the biggest fight we would always get into is like, the problem with you is you don't want to be famous. Evan, you don't want to be famous. It's like, why is that a problem, Steve? I think that's good. I mean, famous people, I used to think had a big ego and, rip people off. And you look at someone like Kevin O'Leary and he seems to be like type A personality, extrovert, always talking to people. And that's not me. I don't talk to people. I don't like talking to people. I don't network. I suck at small talk. I'm introverted. I'm shy. I have no need to be famous. And we would fight over that for a long time until I recognized he finally said it in a way that, hey, the more people know you, the more people hear your message. And that finally sunk in, like, okay, well, actually, I need to, it's not even about me anymore, it's about the message. So I need to be the front man for this, and I need to spread the message more. But I used to feel like being an introvert, being shy, would always hold me back in this space. It's like I would do the best that I could, but I would always be second or third or fourth or like a millionth to people like Kevin O'Leary, because he's so outgoing and outspoken. And you look at the people on TV and you look at Oprah and you look at Kevin and you look at Mark Cuban and you look at these people who are just so seemingly outgoing. And I felt like, well, that's not me. So I can't do it. I'm not going to win. And in trying to be like them, exactly like them, I always failed. I always struggled. I always suffered because I couldn't do it. It felt not wrong, but it just didn't feel me. It felt like I was being fake. And it wasn't until I realized that, hey, you know what? Like, introverts want to serve too. I don't know why that was such a revelation, but it was. Introverts want to serve. I want to serve. I still want to serve. Introverts can still have a big message. Introverts can still be in front of the camera. Like, you don't have to hide behind everything. I still want to serve. Introverts still want to feel like we're doing work that matters, right? We still feel like that. I think that's a human thing, not an introvert-extrovert thing. So how can I be a role model for introverts? How do we build a model based off of service? How do we show people a different way of doing it? And I don't have all the answers, and I'm still trying to figure everything out. But a lot of the work that I'm doing, most of it kind of breaks the mold. I'm working with two amazing marketing guys, and they've worked with some of the biggest campaigns, and they're doing the typical stuff right now with quiz funnels and squeeze pages and all of the typical marketing stuff. It's like, I don't like that stuff. I don't like the idea of just doing a fake quiz just to get somebody's email address and not giving them value. Like, we need to find a new way of doing things. It's like, well, who do you look up to the most as a marketer? And I guess they're looking at to try to find a style, right? They pick whoever marketer and we'll copy that. It's like, my favorite marketer is Princess Diana. Like, what? Princess Diana. Like, okay, explain that to me. Why is Princess Diana your favorite marketer? Like, well, she was introverted, she was shy, but she was still in the public eye. She had a whole bunch of responsibilities, but she had her own take on it, right? Like, the part of the royal family was always sharing and contributing and being of service, and she did it, but she did it in her own way. She took on causes that nobody else wanted to touch. And she used the spotlight on her to try to spread positivity. And I liked how she did it. She was the outsider to the royal family. And I don't know her entire story, but that part of it really appealed to me. It's like, who's this introverted, shy person, but still standing up for what she believed in and who she was. So how do we bring that to a modern day online marketing environment? I don't know, but that's the goal. Like, I know the heart of what I'm trying to accomplish, and we ended up calling it the heart funnel. So there's the quiz funnel and there's the, I don't know, all sorts of different funnels. Well, this is the heart funnel. Like, how do you lead with heart and service? I'm happy to make as many videos as you want. I'm happy to do DMs to people. Like, I love welcoming people. Community is a big part of what I do. And so most of the clients we work with try to work their way out of having to talk to anybody. They just want to make it as efficient as possible. It's like, well, I think that's the best part. Like, I think the community is the best part of all of this. So I'll make as many videos as you need me to. Say, well, I wish more of our clients thought like that. And so the whole point of that is not to build me up. It's just to show a different way of doing things. Like, I like being an introvert. I like leading with service. I like having a heart funnel. I like making videos to showcase things. I like recognizing people. I like doing video DMs for people. I genuinely like that stuff, and nobody else is really doing it. And so instead of saying, well, nobody's doing it, so I suck and I have to then fit into somebody else's mold, it's saying, no, let's break the mold and do something new that fits me, because that's then how I stand out. And the same thing for you. It's how you end up standing out. So it's taking that perceived weakness, something that I always thought was a weakness that would hold me back, and thinking I would, always be left behind, and turning that into something that's different and a superpower that I can really believe in. So how do we make that happen for you? How do you make that action step happen for you? Step number one is think about what is your perceived weakness. Like, why can't you win? Ask yourself. You have to really ask yourself, why can't you win? What's the biggest struggle you're facing? Like, what about you intrinsically as a human do you think is holding you back? Not just connections or education, but physically, like, what do you think? Oh, I can't win because I'm a what? I'm a what? Fill in that blank. Because when you can get honest with yourself, it allows for a much clearer path forward. So what is that blank for you? I'm a blank. I'm not going to win because I'm a blank, right? 2, go find somebody who's done it. Kevin O'Leary found the teacher that showed that dyslexia was a superpower. I'm trying to create the model to show that introverts can be thought leaders and win as well. Find somebody who's done it. They may be a little more challenging to find, but even just using the right keyword, even just going to YouTube and searching, how is dyslexia a superpower? How is introversion a superpower, right? How is humility a superpower? Or whatever you think is your problem. And there might be lots of videos about how just to cope with it, managing strategies, as opposed to, those are the ones you want to watch, because those keep you stuck where you are. You want to watch the ones like, no, we're changing the game. Like, this is, you're actually better than these other people. Not to make yourself, in an ego way, but you have this thing that's in you is special, is different, is unique, and can make you excel where other people can't. For example, introverts, I think, are way better listeners. I used to think I would suck as an interviewer. I used to hate doing interviews, of being the person asking the questions, because I thought I would disappoint people, and I'm not a good conversationalist, and I don't like talking to people, so I would suck as an interviewer. But I'm a great listener. I'm an introvert, so introverts, I think, are great listeners. And I think if you're a great listener, you actually ask better questions, because instead of just worrying about you getting your next thought out, you're actually paying attention to what they're saying, which allows you to ask a better follow-up question. Because the best questions aren't the initial questions, it's the follow-up questions. It's they said something and you're pulling on that thread to get more information out. So that's one way that I think introverts can win, because you're better listeners than extroverts. So you're trying to find, you go to YouTube and you look for people who are doing it, who are winning off of your superpower, right? So step one, identify what is your weakness. 2, you go to YouTube or Google and you start searching for people who think of it as a superpower. And then 3, you surround yourself with it as much as possible. Subscribe to those channels, buy those books, be around it constantly, because the world is telling you that you're a defect, right? The world is telling you that you're less than, that you don't belong, that you can't do this, that you're broken, that you're defective, and that you can't make it. That's what the world is telling you to do, right? That's what the world says. As long as that's in your world, you're going to believe that. The fastest way to change your beliefs is to change your environment. So you change your environment by surrounding yourself with those people. So have it on the wall, have the books, by your office, have a subscription. If my videos help you do that, subscribe to the channel, have it fill up your YouTube feed, have it fill up your Instagram feed, right? Even if there's only 10 people who even talk about it, great. Follow those 10 people. Look at every piece of content they put out. Buy all of their books. Have it around your office and your home and where you are. Have your favorite quotes from them printed and put on the wall and put it as your cell phone background and your desktop background. You don't need to have that many people, but you need to surround yourself with it in your physical environment, because when you see it consistently showing up, it'll start to trigger it in your brain that you could be this person too, that it is actually possible. When the world is telling you that you're broken, these 10 people are telling you that you're superhuman. That makes all the difference in the world. So step 1, identify what you think your biggest weakness is as a human. 2, find the people who think that's actually superpower. And then 3, surround yourself with them daily. You do that, it'll really start to shift your mindset. And when you start to feel like a superhero, if you can actually feel like a superhero, like you have a gift, as opposed to being broken, defective, and needing to be fixed, you shift that mindset, everything changes. Also, if you want to have more self-confidence and self-belief, the science says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action for you to shift that habit forward. So I've designed a special free program to help you get more self-belief for every day. For 254 days, I will send you an email to an unlisted video that, if you watch it, will shift your confidence forward. The links to join for free are in the description below.
And what you need to do is inoculate yourself against the judgment and learn to take action on your ideas, because the alternative is a life filled with regret.
Find whatever the smallest first step is, and then the smallest next step is, and continue to build those steps. And when you look back, you'll have realized that you made some pretty significant progress.
And so I think an easy way to do it is actually to start documenting the process along the way.
Rule number 4, never give up.
I'm gonna give you 3 words today that will change your life. 3 words that when you're feeling frustrated, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling taken advantage of, when you feel like you can't go anymore, when you feel like quitting, giving up, 3 words that will change your life. It's the best. It's the best. It's the best. Somebody screwed you over? It's the best. Things didn't go as you want? It's the best. You break your neck on your trip? It's the best. It's the best. It's the best. It's the best. Why? Why it's the best? Why does it work so well? I mean, just stick with me for this one, because it sounds counterintuitive, but it actually will really work, and just applying it, I promise you, will change your life. Here's what it does. The most important part of it is it puts you back into a position of power. It allows you to reclaim your power, because you feel like you're out of control. You feel like power's been taken away from you. If somebody screws you over, if things don't go as planned, if things are getting extra frustrating, it's like you're putting in all this work, you're doing all these things. You have expectations for what you think is gonna work out. You have expectations for how it's gonna play out, right? You expect it to go a certain way, it doesn't. You expect people to act a certain way, they don't. You expect certain things to happen, they don't happen. You get frustrated, angry, upset, depressed, etc. It's the best. You've lost your power. Saying it's the best reclaims it. It puts you back into a place of hope, of possibility, of optimism, of feeling like things can happen. Yesterday, I went through this. This still happens, guys. This is I don't have a stress-free, problem-free life. It happens on a big scale, like me breaking my neck, and it happens on a small scale, like yesterday. So yesterday, we just came back from our vacation. I spent 8 days in beautiful British Columbia, Kelowna. First trip that I've taken in 2 years because of Corona. I'm working off my laptop, which is not as ideal from doing my regular setup. And on Monday, yesterday, we had planned to redo our floors. I wanted to redo my floor in my office, in our bedroom, rip up the carpet, put in some wood. This vision for how my studio is going to look now with a new floor. And so before we left, we unpacked my entire office, took out my computer, my storage, everything. So my office is a total disaster right now. But on Monday, they were gonna come. They were gonna get done first thing in the morning, be done by early afternoon. They're gonna do my office first. 2 o'clock, I could still be on Instagram Live. This is how I had planned it to go, right? Okay, we're gonna wake up, they're gonna come. I'm gonna talk to my team. Monday's our mentoring day. I'm gonna talk to them. I don't need my computer that much anyway on that day. I'm gonna be done. They're gonna be done by noonish. Gives me a couple hours to set up. I could do my Instagram live. I could take the rest of my calls in the afternoon. All good. Perfect. They come, and the first thing they notice is that they can't use this wood. The wood that we got, the supplier, it wasn't a good enough quality. It was chipping, it was breaking as they were trying to install it. So we got the wrong wood. So they started installing it, they ripped out the carpet, we can't use the rooms anymore. They installed the underpad, they started laying the floor, and it was breaking everywhere, chipping everywhere. It's like, we can keep doing this, but it's not gonna look good. It's like, we can't do this. We need to, this doesn't work. And now I'm frustrated because I don't have time for this, right? I need to be on my calls with the people on my team. I need to be mentoring the people who I've invested into. Like, my Monday is packed. It's packed with calls with people. And I'm frustrated because I don't want to have to deal with this stuff right now. For me, the biggest pain, the biggest frustration for me isn't somebody screwing me over. Whatever. It's wasting time. I hate wasting time. I hate losing time. I hate when I'm spending time on something and I get distracted. That drives me nuts the most. I hate wasting time. And here now I felt like I'm wasting time. I'm losing my day. I need to be on these calls. I don't have time for this right now. I hate those things. I built a no crisis business because I don't want to deal with crisis. I don't want to deal with clients who need you to be on call 24/7. I don't want to deal with fires constantly. It distracts me from making amazing things. So I was really frustrated. So now what we had to do was we had to rip up the floors. We had to take the floor, whatever we had back to the store. We had to go find new floors. My wife can't, do all this by herself. So I had to help her, pack up the boxes, drive together. I'm more picky about the floors than she is, so I have to go and pick out the flooring colors and all this stuff and go to two new stores to find all of this stuff while still doing calls. And I'm packing up the boxes and I'm frustrated in the morning. Like, I can't believe this is happening. I need my computer. Now it's gonna be another couple days before I'll get it back, before my office will be set up. A couple more days. I still have to work out my laptop. I don't have the resources that I normally have, all this stuff. As I'm packing up the elevator, this is maybe 15 minutes of being really frustrated, don't want to talk, upset. I'm packing up the boxes into the elevator, taking it down to fill up. People say, well, you're using your Porsche. Yeah, I mean, it's the only car I have. Why are you using your Porsche to pack wood? Well, it's the only car I have, and we got to get this done today, so I'm not going to go rent the car. We'll just use the Porsche. I'm in the elevator. I'm going down to the car. The 3 magic words come into my head. It's the best. 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 This is the best. It's the best. Let's go. What it does right now then is it shifts me from being defeated, unhappy, upset, not my best self, super frustrated, feeling like it's a waste of the day. And am I going to show up the best for the people on my calls? No, right? Of course not. When I'm like that, of course not. It's the best. This is my chance to show myself what I'm made of. Let's go. And then it just does something to your brain chemicals. It just flips it on. Where now it's like, okay, I'm ready for this. Now it's from, oh my gosh, to let's go. Like in an instant. It's the best. So now we're driving, we're taking back the wood. I'm doing my calls at the wood place. We pick a new wood. First shop we go to actually doesn't work. Nothing suitable. Great. Next call, I'm in the car, going to another store, find it. Find the actual new wood, come back home. It's still gonna be till Wednesday that we get it installed, 2 days later. But I got it all done. I got the calls done. We picked out the new wood. We made it happen. I got home in time. All because I shifted to the resourceful state instead of the feeling sorry for myself or feeling upset. I didn't lose the day. How many times have you felt upset, felt discouraged, and then you lose the entire day or you lose the entire week and say, okay, this isn't gonna work out. This sucks. I can't believe this happened. And then you just stop. You shut down. This is the problem. You shut down, leaning in. You shut down in a moment where you need to show up. You shut down in the moment where you need to show up. You shut down in the moment when you need to show up. This is the time you need to show up and you shut down. Can I say it again? Is it sinking in? And I get it. This is a message that I still use myself, still need myself. But I didn't have a tool before. I'd just be frustrated and would not lose. Sometimes I'd lose an entire day. I wouldn't lose an entire week. The next day, wake up and be back on my game. But I would lose an entire day. And then it shifted to slowly being less upset and slowly being less frustrated. But that might take hours for it to happen. The fastest way to do it, in an instant, in a second, if you can just remind yourself, it's the best. It's the best. It's the best. Nina?
Hello, it's the best.
It's the best. It's the best. It's the best. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to stay frustrated. You don't have to stay depressed. You don't have to stay down. When you feel those moments, it's okay, it's natural, it's human. Tell yourself, it's the best. And it will shift you to a place of power, of positivity, of encouragement, and most of all, resourcefulness to show up, because that's when you need you the most. It's the best.
Rule number 5, become the boldest version of you.
What would the boldest version of you do? Think about your mission. Think about your goals. Think about what you are trying to accomplish. You've got what you're doing now, but think about what the boldest version of you, if you summoned the boldest version of you into existence right now, what would he or she tell you to do? So when I did my tour earlier this year, it was 90 days, 23 cities. And at first I wanted to do it for free. I love doing free coffee shop meetups every time I travel to a new city. And I told my agent, Steve in New York, hey man, this is my idea. He said, you need to charge for the event. You gotta play bigger. You gotta do a bolder version of you. And it's freaked me out. It scared me because I don't want to disappoint people. And the idea of charging for something and then me disappointing people and then hitting that fear every 4 days, because I got up in a new city every 3 to 4 days for 90 days, was me being able to conquer my fears. And so Steve pushed me, and I have Steve's voice in my head. It's like, you need to play bigger. You got to do something bolder. What's the next step? And so I'm looking at my next tour coming up in 2020 around my book, Built to Serve, and I'm trying to think, how do I make it even bigger? How do I make it even bolder? Because what I've done has been great. And it's not trying to take away from what I've done. It's amazing. I'm proud of myself. I'm grateful. Awesome. And I know I'm capable of more. And I know I need to do something at the next level, because if I want to go off and accomplish my mission, I need to. Because at the rate I'm going right now, I'm not going to hit 1 billion people. I'm not going to solve the world's biggest problem. I'm not going to have the impact and reach that I know I can have unless I demand more boldness, bigger scale from myself on a daily basis. And so for me, having Steve's voice in my head, having Elon Musk's voice in my head, having Steve Jobs and Ape Giannini and my parents and Kanye West and Howard Schultz constantly in my head, the content that I make is for myself. It's selfish for myself. And then I share it with you guys, and thankfully you like it, so I can build a business around it and hire your team and keep creating more. What makes you bold? What makes you come alive? And how do you summon that creature on a daily basis? If you wake up and you daily, every day, consistently are bringing the boldest version of you, even for 1 year, if you woke up every day for 1 year and summoned the boldest version of you, your life is going to look dramatically different 1 year from today. So how do you start playing a bigger game and being more bold? I'm going to give you a 3-step process that I think is going to help. Step number 1, what would the boldest version of you do? Just asking that question, just taking 5 minutes, sit down, grab your coffee, eat your breakfast, have no distractions, and just think about it for 5 minutes. What would the boldest version of you today do? What would you do? Look at your day ahead. Look at your plans. Look at what you've got up in your schedule today. If you were bold, if you summoned the boldest version of you today, what would you do differently? And then summon the strength and summon the courage and go do that thing. Step number 2 is think big and act small. Think big, act small. You have to think big because you're an entrepreneur. You've got big dreams, big ambitions. We want to change the world. You got an important mission, a vision that's driving you every day, right? I feel it. I'm connected to it too. I got a big vision that I never want to end. I want to chase it down for the rest of my life. But sometimes the big vision, yes, it is empowering and yes, it is inspiring, but sometimes it seems too big. Sometimes it seems impossible. Sometimes it seems like we're never going to do it without getting venture capital and partnerships and a huge team and all of these things. And then you stack it on top of each other and then you don't do anything because it's too big an idea that you can't do it alone. That's where you need to act small. Think big, big vision, but act small. Like, what's the smallest, simplest, easiest thing that you can just do right now? It might be just picking up your phone and making a video. You want to have a YouTube channel? You want to build momentum? Create a video today, right now. And you won't know what you're talking about, and you won't have perfect audio, and you won't have the great lighting, and it will be garbage editing. Great. Because the biggest thing that's missing from you, from your mission actually happening, is momentum. You're a genius. You've got great ideas. That thing that's in here needs to be birthed, but there's no momentum. You're not doing enough on a daily basis to actually create that thing and get it out to the world. So think big, act small. And step number 3 is to understand that your bucket list is your excuse list. People walk around with a bucket list of things that they want to do before they die. The problem is you've given yourself until you die as your timeline. It's an excuse list. Look at what's on that bucket list. Everything on there is excuses. You've come up with stories as to why you can't do it. I just came back from speaking at Dean Graziosi's and Brendan Burchard's event in Phoenix, and there was a woman who was in front of me and said, hey, I've got dancing on my bucket list. She found out that I had owned Toronto Dance Salsa, and now dancing's on my bucket list. Like, don't say that. Your bucket list is your excuse list. And then she was taken aback, but then she looked down and she pulled up her dress a little bit, and you could see she had a broken foot or something wrong with one of her legs. I said, great. She's showing it to me as if, oh, now I'm supposed to understand your situation. That's why you can't go dancing. She showed it to me, and then I said, okay, can you march? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you march? She says, yeah, I can march. I can walk. Great. Give me your hands. And I picked her up, and we started doing merengue. And I was doing all these turn patterns and making her move and turning around, and she had her first merengue dance. And then she realized, all I need is somebody to hold on to. I can dance. I just need somebody to hold on to. Don't wait until 5 years later, 10 years later, until you die for that bucket list to happen. Today, your bucket list is your excuse list. Stop telling yourself all the reasons why you can't do something, and if it was important enough to you, you'll chase it down. I'm passionate about this. I'm going to tell you one more story. There was one guy, same event, who says getting to the top of whatever mountain is on his bucket list. But he doesn't have the money to do it, and he doesn't have the time to do it, and all this stuff. And he's doing all these little things instead of chasing down his one big goal. If he hit the top of the mountain, everything else in his life would change, would be different. He'll come back a different person, a different human. All the things that he thinks are so important to him right now will not be important when he comes back. These little projects that are distracting him from doing the big thing that he wants to do will disappear. He'll come back a new human with a whole different path ahead of him. You have to figure out a way to get to the top of that mountain. You have to figure out, look at your bucket list and recognize that's just a list of excuses you've got there. Pick the thing that you actually care about and go chase it down immediately.
Rule number 6, be the chief goal officer.
You need to be people's chief goal officer. If you want to move them into action, if you want them to win, you have to speak to them in their language and the things that they care about. The worst advice you could give somebody is what you would do. If you treat everybody who works with you and for you like the way you would be treated, you're going to lose forever. You're never going to build the organization you want because people have different goals and it's your job to understand what they are. So I'm doing this tour right now, 90 days, 23 cities. I often get asked by people, hey Evan, what book should I read? What video do you recommend from your channel for an entrepreneur? I've done 6,000 videos. The worst advice I could give is to give a generic answer. The worst advice I could give is to one that I would watch. Like, here's a video that I love the most. For me to give a good answer to you, I need to know your problem. I need to be your chief goal officer. I need to understand what you're struggling with. I could give you the greatest book recommendation of all time, but if it's not the thing that you care about right now, it's not going to serve you. And so before you give advice, before you try to help somebody else out, be their chief goal officer. There's 2 ways to do it. Understand their who and understand their why. Their who is their most important one-word core value, and their why is their purpose, and their purpose comes from their pain. So look at their who. I'll use an example with Alex, who runs Toronto Dance Salsa for me. His who is belong. His one word is belong. He wants to create a place where people feel like they belong. It's the one word for him. It's a one word for TDS. I know that's what he really cares about.
For me, belonging doesn't really matter. If I don't feel like I belong in a room, I'm not bothered by it. I don't care what other people think of me. It's so low down on my list of priorities and values of what I personally care about. But for him, it's number one. He wants to make people feel like they belong. That's his one word, most important core value. That's his who. So I understand a little bit more about him. I understand how to push him. The next is your why. Your purpose comes from your pain. For him, he struggled so much in making friends and feeling accepted. He had super sweaty hands, and when he held a girl's hand, he would slide out because he sweat so much, and it tied into him never feeling like he belonged. And so this is now his purpose for life, is to help other people feel like they belong, that there's a space for them to come to and feel like they belong. His favorite movie of all time is Hercules, the Disney movie, the cartoon, where in that song they says something about a place where you belong. And when he hears that song, he cries. Great, this is Alex, right? I might play that song for myself and think, that's a good song. I might play that song for somebody else and they hate that song. Screw Hercules, amazing. Everybody's different. You need to be their chief goal officer. So if I'm talking to Alex and trying to motivate and push him and have him build an amazing company that he's proud of, I'm gonna use words like belong. I'm gonna use movie references like Hercules. I'm gonna talk about creating a place where people can come together and feel like they're finally accepted, because that's at the core of what he's all about. That's me being his chief goal officer. And so you need to do that for everybody on your team. You need to do that for every customer that you work with. Stop treating everybody the same way. There's the classic rule of do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and that's great, and that's treating people with compassion and care and kindness. But everybody's motivated by different things. And if you can only treat people one way, the way that you would like to be treated, you're gonna only have success with a very narrow band of people. A very narrow band of customers, a very narrow band of employees, a very narrow band of partners. You're gonna stay in this tiny little lane your entire life and never build a huge company. But if you can learn to be somebody's chief goal officer, if you can learn to understand what drives them, moves them, pushes them, what their who is, what their why is, why they're here, what they're trying to accomplish, you start building an 8-lane superhighway, and you can build a company that can take over the world.
Rule number 7, the last one before our very special bonus clip, act despite fear.
Fear is normal. It's part of what makes you human. You would not be human, or you'd have some crazy condition if you never felt fear. I think the people who say don't be afraid aren't giving you practical advice. It's be afraid, feel the fear, and then step into it and do it anyway. And the more you get used to taking on those fearful projects that you're scared of, the stronger you'll get, the more resistance you'll get, the higher tolerance you'll get to do bigger, better, bolder, badder things. I think the trick though is spotting the fear. Here's what I think happens to most people. There's some opportunity that comes along. There's some moment that comes along, whether it's with a client or meeting somebody or an event, something comes along that you're afraid of. You're afraid of doing it. It's gonna stretch you beyond what you've ever done before. And then what you do is you rationalize saying no. I don't have the money to go to that event. I'm too busy to go and do that thing right now. You find the reason why you can't go and do it. You rationalize it, but really deep down, the reason is you're just afraid. And until you spot the fear, until you understand that it's really just the fear, then you're never gonna solve the problem. So step 1 is understanding when there is fear. Step 2 is then stepping into it and doing it anyway. And a lot of this stuff is just so subconscious. You know, we as human beings are kind of trained to, when we're afraid something's gonna go wrong, and to be safe. And so it's trying to catch that subconscious action and proactively change it. So as an example for me, when I was starting my YouTube channel, my agent would tell me, you have to go out and do videos in public. I want you to go out on the street and make a video in public. My natural reaction was fear, but I didn't catch it. Initially it was, the gear won't be as good in public, you know, I can't control the light settings, I'm gonna be bouncing around with the camera, it's not gonna be a great experience for the people watching. Why would I do that? I'm rationalizing a reason why I don't have to do it, where really I'm just afraid, right? You could solve all those problems. And he told me, stop being afraid and just go out and do it. He cut through it and let me see my own fear. And so I did it. And when I first went out and filmed in public, I took out, it was my phone or my camera, I don't remember, and I'm walking on the street, and then the postman is there. And so as soon as I see the postman, I quiet down. I put the camera away, just walking normally. And then when the postman leaves, I'm back to filming. And that time I noticed, I'm doing it because I'm afraid. And I got pissed. Okay, next time, I gotta speak up. Next time, I gotta do better. And so I went out and forced myself to go and do it again. And I was walking past and there were these construction workers. And instantly again, the panic sets in, people are watching, construction workers. I know they don't really even care about me and what I'm saying, what's happening on the street. But I forced myself through it. It was awkward, it wasn't great. I think I had to redo it again anyway, but I took the step. I got better at it. I recognized the fear and I jumped into it. And now it's to the point where I'll make videos walking down the hall. I'll make videos when I'm at Disneyland, Disney World, I'll make videos in the streets of anywhere. And there's still a moment, even now, after how many videos I've done, there's still a moment of who's watching. I think it's natural and normal. It's not as strong as it used to be. And more importantly, it doesn't limit me from doing the thing that I want to do. And so spotting the fear and not rationalizing it away and not just doing what your subconscious always does that keeps you down where you are is so important. Being truthful that the reason why you said no or you're not taking this opportunity is just because you're afraid. And the answer to saying no should never be because I'm afraid. You want to rejig your system. So whenever that's the answer, because I'm afraid to do it, now you have to do it.
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the good deed of the day. This is something new. I believe that you're built to serve, and it feels so good to do something nice for somebody else. So good deed of the day, put down in the comments one thing that you need help with, that you're working on, that you'd love some support or guidance on. And then 2, go comment on somebody else's comment and give them some love, give them some support, give them some encouragement, maybe give them some connections, try to help them solve that problem, even if it's saying, I believe in you. That one little bit of encouragement can be the difference between somebody quitting and continuing on. So the good deed of the day, in the comments below, write down one thing that you need help on, that you're struggling with, that you're working on, and then part 2 is go give love to somebody else in the comments too, and let them know that you believe in them as well.
Nobody wants to work with somebody who doesn't have integrity. But what is integrity? What does that mean for you? How do you find it? How do you know what you stand for? For me, it all comes down to values. When you understand what you stand for as a human being, when you know what your most important core value is, then you know how to live with integrity, and you know how to build a business based around integrity as well. And so the process that I go through is your one word. I wrote a book about it. You can read it, you can pick it up and understand how to apply it to your business and your life. But at the core is figuring out, if I had to stand for one thing as a human being, what is that thing? And so a quick process. Let's go through this quick exercise together. You can pick up the book later. Right now, think about 1. Who was your favorite teacher growing up? You've had lots of teachers growing up through high school, university, elementary school. Who was your favorite teacher? It wasn't because they taught you grade 10 math. There was a reason. What was it? Who was the person and what was it? 2, what was your favorite movie growing up? Pick your favorite movie and why. And then 3, who's your favorite entrepreneur? Who's the person that you looked up to the most? Who did you learn the most from? Who do you most want to emulate? If I run through that scenario for myself, number 1, my favorite teacher is Madame Farr growing up at my school, Crescent School. She always believed in me. She always helped me. She always guided me. She helped take me from being a B student to an A+ student in my final year. She made me feel like it was possible. 2, my favorite movie is Seabiscuit. It's about this racehorse that's too small and a jockey that's too big and an owner that has no money and a trainer that's down on his luck. And they all seem to come together to build this racehorse that goes off and wins a whole bunch of races and helps lift the nation based off a true story. I've seen that movie at least 30 times. 3, my favorite entrepreneur is A.P. Giannini. He started Bank of America. He was the guy who first gave immigrants in America money as a loan. He lent money to people based off of a handshake and a look in their eye, if you can imagine. He gave Walt Disney the money to have his first feature-length cartoon, and everybody thought he was crazy. And so, what's a common thread through all that? Between Madame Farr, Seabiscuit, A.P. Giannini, they may all seem totally disconnected. They're not. If I had to write down 3 characteristics, this is what you should do. You write down your 3 names, and then you have 3 characteristics for each one. The word believe pops off the sheet for me. I think about all of them, and believe comes out. Madame Farr believed in me.
My other teachers are really nice. They really helped me. It was amazing, but she really helped move the needle because she believed in me. Seabiscuit, I've seen lots of movies. I love them all. It's great. But the idea of believe coming through that racehorse, I love it. It's a cheesy movie, but I love it. And then AP Giannini is the believe banker. Lent money to people and bet on them when nobody else believed in them. My one word is believe. As a result, I've built my entire business around it, right? My life and my business are built around believe. My videos, my newsletter, my website, my speaking gigs, the books that I write, everything I create, it's not just a strategy, it's a way of living. And that's having integrity with yourself. So why don't I make a top 10 video series on the stupidest things that people say? Because it's anti-believe, because it's negative. My channel would actually be bigger if I did the negative side of things. People would rather be entertained and laugh at others than educate themselves and get better. People would rather sit at home and watch 4 hours of Netflix every night than go off and spend 4 hours learning and try to build a business. They just would. We'd rather be entertained and educated. But I don't want to be in that business. I don't want to be in a negative business. I don't want to be in the hater business because my one word is believe. And so that's having integrity with myself and then integrity with you guys, my audience, my customers, the people that I work with. And so yes, integrity is at the core of everything. If you don't have integrity, people do not want to work with you. But how do you figure out what that means? Of course, you're not going to go lie to somebody, right? Of course, stealing is going to be bad. But what else? How do you get more specific? The biggest problem is lack of clarity. People don't know what they stand for. And as a result, you're living up to other people's expectations and versions, where I want you to live inside yourself. I want you to be standing on a rock when everybody else is standing on quicksand. You have clarity, you have definiteness of purpose. And it starts with figuring out your one word. So you can pick up the book, or you can go through that 3-step process. Think about who your favorite teacher was and why, write 3 words down for it. Think about what your favorite movie is and why, write 3 words down for it. And think about who your favorite entrepreneur or hero is of all time and why, write 3 words down from it. Look at what's similar. Your one word will pop off the page, and now you know what integrity means to you.
Just be yourself is one of the most common pieces of advice that you hear from successful people. Just be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Just be yourself. You're a unique snowflake. Yes, amazing, but how? How do I do it? How do I find it? And once I find it, how do I have the confidence to actually live it? How? Give me the how. You're in luck. I'm going to give you the 3-step process on how to actually find out who you are and have the confidence to live it. We're going to go through 3 steps. Who, why, how. Your who, your why, your how. You figure that out, you're set up for life. It's one of the most powerful exercises you will ever do in your life. Let's dig in. Number 1, your who. Your who is your one word, most important core value. What is your single most important core value? Mine is belief. When you understand what you stand for, you're less likely to be pulled in other people's directions. So quick tips on how to find it. What's your favorite movie of all time? Mine is Seabiscuit. It's about this horse that's too small and a jockey too big and an owner that has no money, and they find each other and they start winning a whole bunch of races, right? What's your favorite song of all time? Who's your favorite teacher of all time and why? And if you look at all these things that you have loved, it wasn't because Mrs. Jones taught you math in grade 8. It's because of a characteristic. There's a common thread between all the things that you love that make you happy. That's your one word. That's your most important core value. When you figure that out, now you can live a life on purpose and bring those things to you. So for me, believe, I'm not gonna make a video that's trashing somebody. I'm not gonna make a top 10 stupidest things that this person ever said, even though it might make me more money, even though it might bring me more subscribers, even though it might get me more attention. I don't wanna do it because it's anti-belief. And knowing that, knowing what I stand for, then makes it easy to put that shield up to say, no, I don't care about your opinion. I don't care that you think I should go do that thing. I know what I stand for. It gives you a rock to stand on where most people are standing on quicksand. Figure out your who. Step 2 is figure out your why. That's your purpose. Your purpose comes from your pain. Think about the most painful moment in your life. Your purpose for life will be to help other people who are currently experiencing that pain. To find somebody who is going through the thing that caused you the most pain in your life will lift you up and give you so much joy, I can't explain it. And your who and your why, your one word and your purpose are for life. So for me, my why, my purpose is helping entrepreneurs because I struggled so much as an entrepreneur, because I turned down huge jobs to make $300 a month and earn 30% of a company. And I hated my life. Like I felt worthless. I felt like I wasn't giving any value. It sucked.
I eventually made it through, and I want to help entrepreneurs because I remember struggling so much as an entrepreneur. I don't want other people to have to struggle the same way that I struggled. And so my one word is believe. I could believe in anybody. I could believe in lots of people. Everybody needs believing in, but I love helping entrepreneurs more because that's where I came from, because that was my biggest struggle. It's my biggest pain. And so think about your most painful moment of all time. Helping the people who are currently experiencing the thing that you went through is going to be the thing that will fill you up for life. Your who and your why are for life. They will never change. They're with you for life. And so it's worth going through that thought experiment to find it. Because most of America has no idea what they stand for and what their purpose is. Step 3 is your how. Now it's figuring out, how did you get through the thing that you went through, right? I struggled as an entrepreneur. The thing that saved my business was modeling Bill Gates. How did Bill Gates build a software company? That's what I had. I had a software company. I wasn't working. I copied Bill Gates' strategies, applied it to my business, had my first sale shortly after for $13,500. It may not seem like a lot of money, but for me, it was money. It was money. It was bank. Like, holy cow, something's actually working. And so ever since then, that was when I was 19, 20 years old. Ever since then, whenever I don't know what to do, I model success. I modeled Bill Gates' success and put that to my company. I had success. And so what have I done for the past 20 years? Made content, made videos. Look at my channel, profiling different successful entrepreneurs to model their success. The path that I use to get out of the hole is the path that then I teach. The path that you use to get out of the hole that you're in becomes the path that you teach. It's a system. It's replicatable. You can teach other people how to do it because a lot of the people who are struggling with the thing that you struggled with, they never find their way out. You can help them by showing them the path that you took. And so your who, your why, your how. When you figure that out, that's how you are yourself. And now you've got this amazing rock to stand on when other people think you should go do something else. You don't care. It doesn't hit you. It bounces off you because you're confident in yourself. And so yes, be yourself. And it's going to come up over and over and over and over again. Look at the top 10s. Look at the espressos. Look at all the videos. Look at the interviews. Look at the people that you look up to. They're all going to say, just be yourself. But how? This is the process. Figure out your who. Figure out your why. Figure out your how. Go through those 3 steps and you're set up for life. And I'm so pumped to see the journey that you go on.
The fastest way to grow is to be around people who are doing what you want to do. Period. When you are around people who are building and growing and taking on the world and trying to accomplish their dreams, and you're in that environment and you're learning, even just being around them, it's going to seep into you and get you motivated and pumped up and fired up to go off and chase your dreams. Most people have a pretty crappy environment. Most people, if you're an entrepreneur, most people, they don't have a bunch of entrepreneurs in their family. Most people, when they tell their family and their friends what they're doing, they think they're crazy. They think that you shouldn't go off and do that thing. You should go and get a safe, normal, typical job. A lot of people have a lot of negativity around them. If you are constantly surrounded by negative people, people bringing you down, it's really hard to be the one person trying to go off and make a huge difference. And so if that's you, if that's your situation, then you need to change your environment. You need to be surrounded by people who are like-minded, who are off chasing their goals, and you need to find some mentors. Let me give you some quick tips on how to do it. Because if you don't, you're never going to get to where you want to go. You won't. Staying right now where you are needs to be unacceptable, because you will never get to the spot that you want to be at if you stay exactly where you are with the people and the environment that you have around you. Step number 1 is limit the exposure to negativity. That may mean you cut off some friends. Just because you were friends in elementary school doesn't mean you should still be friends now. It doesn't mean you have to be rude to them. You've just grown apart. It's okay. It's okay. It's great. You'll get new friends. We need to limit exposure to negative, toxic people. If those are your parents, you may not want to completely eliminate them from your life, although for some people, that's an important step. It may just mean cutting off exposure to some topics. If you know that your friends or your parents talking to them about your business ideas is always going to lead to a fight and negativity, just don't talk about it. Say, I don't want to talk about that, and find something positive that you can relate to and talk about. Step 1, you have to eliminate the negativity or limit exposure to it in your life. You will not do great things if you are constantly bombarded by negativity. Step number 2, now you have to fill the void. You got to fill the void with positivity. And so that's reaching out, that's joining communities, that's going to events, that's going to groups. I'm on my tour right now. I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm doing an event tonight here in Albuquerque. And when people come together who are like-minded. All the people who come to my events, they're all entrepreneurs and they all want to go off and do something amazing. And for a lot of the people coming out, they're the only ones that they know who are off trying to do something, and now they meet local people who are also similarly minded. You need to be around similarly minded people. And so check your local city, check your local groups, see what's happening, see what's coming up, get involved, get out of the house. Stop being in your regular routine. Your current environment is not helping you. You need to get out and meet new people. And you may go to an event and meet only one person that is potentially like-minded. Amazing. Collect people. I like collecting good people. Collect them. I'll even be super awkward about it, almost intentionally, where if I really like somebody and we have a great conversation, I'll say, you know what, I really like you. That sounds weird. I'd like to find a way to spend more time together. Like maybe we meet up once a month for a coffee and just talk about business. That's how you do it. You just ask. And if you had that with 4 or 5 different people, then every week you're meeting somebody on a regular basis who fills you with positivity and energy. And so you have to go off and find those people. You have to say yes and go to those events to meet, to be around the positive energy, because it'll make such a big difference for you accomplishing your big goals. And then step number 3 is get more mentors. You need to get mentors. And one are aspirational mentors, and that's what I see through what I do, right? Through my content. I learn through the aspirational mentors. I learn from Kanye, I learned from Dandapani, I learned from Oprah Winfrey, I learned from Mel Robbins, I learned from these people. They make me better, even though I haven't met most of the people that I profiled on my channel. I learn from them, they make me better. Being around them and their energy and their wisdom gets me fired up. Seeing people going off doing amazing things, and I get that 3 times a day on my channel, right? Like, it will shift you, it will. If you are watching content, you may never meet Dandapani, but if you're watching his content, if he inspires you and you watch his content on a daily, it will shift you, because now he's a voice of positivity in your life. And then you can get real mentors as well. For those of you who are following my Path to 10 Million Subscribers series, I'm having people who I respect and look up to coach me on different things that I need to get better at, who they'll watch my stuff and say, hey, here, this is where you're great, but here, you suck. You got to get better at this thing. You need to make the decision to change your environment. You need to make the decision that your life is important, that your mission is important, that being where you are right now is not acceptable, that you don't want to be here again in a year. Like 1 year from today, you can't be in the same environment. You can't be around negativity and toxicity every single day. You need to follow those steps. You need to remove the negativity from your life. You need to seek out positive energy and be around people who build and lift you up. And you need to start seeking out mentors, whether they are face-to-face mentors or aspirational mentors, to help you get to where you go. Your life is important. Your mission is important. You need to start treating it as so.
If you want to learn how to force yourself to take action on your ideas, check out the video next to me. I think you're gonna enjoy. Continue to believe. I will see you there.
For most people, it's the meh versus okay decisions where we get stuck. You spend too much time focused on the small decisions that don't actually move your business forward,